Hey everybody, welcome back to Mimi's Mixed Bag. I am steadily improving. Can't hear out of this ear right now, but I am with a trip to the doctor. I'm on the road to recovery. So what I want to talk to you about this week is this pumpkin craze that is just sweeping the country, especially here in the Mid-South. I don't know if it's that way in your part of the country or not, but I am seeing dishes that are pumpkin flavored that are traditionally not thought of as pumpkin, but anyway, people are going crazy over it. I may be the only one in America that is not obsessed with the pumpkin spice latte. I think it is just flavor overkill. You know, after a few sips, that's about all I can take. It's just too strong to me. But anyway, I like the initial flavor. But anyway, let me know how you feel about it if you don't like it, and what do you think about it. But what I've had this recipe that I want to share with you today in my file for about 4 years, because it's a 2010 Southern Living, and I love to tear out recipes and eventually try. But let me get it for you. And here's a picture of it. It is a pumpkin cookie. It is it has a little glaze on it with a little spiderweb design on it. I thought that was really cute. Like if you had to take something to a party next month or get together. And I even seen it on Pinterest made into muffins and pies, and you could do that spiderweb design on just about anything. I even saw some cookies that had a little plastic spiders stuck on there, and so I thought that would be really cute for kids. But anyway, I'm just curious to see if it's a crunchy cookie or a soft cookie. It is made with pumpkin, a can of pumpkin, so I need to run to the store and grab a few odds and ends. My husband, he's never made a cookie he didn't like, so I'm sure they'll be consumed whether they look pretty or not. So anyway, we'll decide if it's a keeper or if it's something I'll pass on after the first try. Okay, everybody, I have my ingredients gathered here to assemble our cookies. Most all scratch recipes require you to mix your dry ingredients first and then your wet ingredients, and then always cream your butter and sugar separately as well. The reason they have you do that is because that it does allow you to have a better mixture, and it also prevents the production of gluten, which is like the glue in the recipe. It just makes for a lighter, fluffier cookie or a softer bread. So anyway, so I'm going to try to follow the directions exactly like the recipe, and we'll see what happens here. So I will have the whole recipe written out in the description box, all the amounts and everything. I just want to show you what I had out here laid. This is all-purpose flour. I have some ground allspice, some salt and baking powder. I have some canned pumpkin. I have some milk. And over here I'll have my butter and sugar and then a couple eggs. So I'm going to mix up my dry ingredients, just kind of get that incorporated, and just put that to the side. So I'm just going to kind of get that out of the way. It may be out of the camera view, but you don't need to see it. Okay, this is my canned pumpkin. I'm just going to put it in a little bowl and incorporate it with my milk. Put my milk in there ever so softly. Okay, see, I should have got a bigger bowl, but just incorporate the milk and the pumpkin. So I'm going to take a break from this for a second because my butter and sugar need to cream for at least a minute. So that's my cup of sugar, my half a stick of butter. I'm going to just let that whip up for about a minute. Okay, so now all I have left is the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients combined. And what I'll do is I will alternate wet, dry, wet, dry. And you know, I really don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to why you do that, but it's always, in every Southern cook I've ever heard of, you always end on the dry. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll just show you that I'll put about 1/4 of it in. I'd say almost half of it in. You got to be careful when you're incorporating flour, because it will, if you don't start it off slow, when you incorporate it, it will fly up like a big puff of smoke. So start off slow if you have a mixer like this. And if you do, I'm sure you're accustomed to it. So I'm going to cut away and I'm going to finish alternating the wet and the dry, the wet and the dry. Okay, I have all my wet and dry ingredients incorporated together. I scrape down the sides if you're used to working with one of these type of mixers. And it's a very wet, it's very wet. It's not a cookie dough that you could make balls with or anything like that. So it's something you definitely would have to scoop out. But it's a pretty thick, you know, you see the consistency of it. But anyway, we'll see. It certainly smells good. And the recipe called for 1/4 of a cup scoopfuls. So this is going to make a pretty good sized cookie. You know, if you've ever seen like some of the Martha Stewart size cookie cutters and things like that. So this is going to make a pretty good sized cookie. I would say a good 2 or 3 inch cookie. So we're going to see. We're going to, and I have a cookie sheet here. I just lined it with aluminum foil because my cookie sheets have had quite a bit of abuse and they don't look too pretty. But just for the sake of filming purposes, I just covered it in aluminum foil and sprayed it with a little Pam. And so we're going to see. And it said 1/4 of a cup spoonfuls, 2 inches apart. So I think I'll be able to get about 6 cookies on this oversized cookie sheet, which that's okay. I can cook several batches. This is the only way I really know to do it, to get a good, I don't even know if they make scoops that big. I have some of the Pampered Chef cookie dough scoops, but I don't think they even make them this big. So you could probably just use an ice cream scoop, a big ice cream scoop, instead of, from the looks of it, it's probably going to make about 12 big cookies is what this appears to be. I'm going to check back with the recipe and see what it says. So, okay, that looks to be about half of the batter. It may make 12 to 14 cookies. We'll see, maybe a baker's dozen, 13. But anyway, I'm going to put this in the oven, 350 for 13 to 15 minutes, and I'll get back with you and I'll show you what they look like. Okay, everybody, I have my first batch cooked, and let me just pick one up for you. They've cooled for about 15 minutes. They're pretty cakey, if I had to describe it in a certain way with one word. You know, a lot of times when you do cook stuff, you know, it will be kind of puffy when you take them out, but so far after about 15 minutes, they're still kind of kind of puffy. But the recipe does call for you to decorate the bottom side. So, and they didn't stick at all. And so I think maybe next time I will be a little more careful when I am dropping the batter on there, because, you know, it's not perfectly round like some of these, but they're a pretty good sized cookie. I mean, it covers your whole palm, so they are bigger like I thought they would be. But anyway, I'm gonna, you know, I'll certainly have the recipe for the glaze down in the description box, but I'll go ahead and just read you the ingredients for the glaze. And it was literally just put it in the bowl, stir it up, and you were done. It was confectionate sugar, light corn syrup, some vanilla extract, a couple tablespoons of milk, and some cocoa powder. The last two ingredients were actually to make the little spiderweb glaze. So what I did is I mixed up the glaze, and then I poured out a little and put it in a Ziploc baggie. If you don't want to go through this process, this would be certainly a lot easier to do. Just to buy you a tube of black icing, and you could just spiral it onto the glaze. I started to use this, but I really wanted to go by the recipe this time. So if I ever make these again, this is kind of a mess trying to get it in this Ziploc baggie, but I wanted to stay true to the recipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to ice these. See how it goes. And anytime you use like an offset knife, it certainly makes icing easier. I figured the glaze would be a little more white, but it is, I guess, as it's cooling, becoming a little more white. I think I'll just do it all the way to the edge. Okay, I'll do a couple and see how they turn out. Yeah, I'm surprised that these turned out so cakey. I don't know, I didn't know what to expect. So anyway, that's why we try them. Okay, so now I have the glaze on there, and it says to, and I'll have the directions explicitly in the description box, but it says to, so I pulled out a third of the glaze and mixed it with some cocoa powder to create my brown glaze. And we'll see how this goes. I don't think I'm cutting a hole big enough. I don't want too big of a hole. Not want to cooperate here. Well, so I'll cut another hole. That glaze doesn't want to come through the baggie. I don't know if mixing it with the cocoa powder made the glaze a little. Tell you what I'm going to do is, and that's good to come across these kind of mistakes, so that in case you know, something about mixing it with the cocoa powder just made it, not workable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away from the camera. I'm going to add a little more milk to this glaze and see if I can get it a little more wetter, and see if that will help solve it. If not, like I said before, this is so much easier just to buy you a tube of black icing and you'd be done with it. So I'll be back in just a second when I try to work on this brown glaze. Another batch of the brown glaze, and so like I said, this is a learning process, and I don't think I'll ever fool with trying to make my own chocolate. It's just worth $1 to, if you really want the Spiderweb cookies, just to buy your own little black stuff. Black. Oh gosh, what a mess. And see, yeah, I mean, you have no control over how wet the stuff is, but we're going to try it. Jeez. Like another circle. I can get it to stop long enough. But that's the purpose of doing these videos, is that everything in a magazine isn't as perfect. So I'm not crazy about that at all. And I'm going to just, for filming purposes, let's try just the black. So much easier. Okay, we're going to see. Take a cute toothpick, and you're supposed to just drag it through there. Okay, there you have it. You have one with the homemade brown glaze, and here's one with the the store-bought black. And you can tell, I think this is a mess, trying to do it yourself. I will never do that again. But I'll certainly, with a little practice, I think this could be really cute. This is very close to the picture in the magazine. So much easier just to make up the glaze. The glaze is really just the 4 or 5 ingredients, stir it up, and it turns into a glaze. But, I might consider making them. I don't think they're as pretty as I thought they were going to be to take somewhere. But, to make for the grandkids or, just for a family get-together, I think they're pretty cute. So, anyway, like I said before, my husband will eat these no matter what they look like. But anyway, that's the fun part of trying magazine recipes, is to see exactly how they turn out. So I'll need to free up this cookie sheet, and I'm going to cook my next batch and decorate them up, and so get them decorated up. And now after fact, we're going to skip the making your own brown glaze and just stick with the store-bought black tube of icing. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you tried, and you may be more of a cake decorator or cookie decorator than I am, but I'm certainly not a professional, and that's what's fun about making these YouTube videos, is that you see in real world how things turn out. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to a lot more Halloween crafts and recipes in the next coming month. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.